What is up, everyone? I'm Scratch. Welcome to the channel. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today, guys, I want to talk about the Chimera, the importance of trials, and how to build that ultimate team that will allow you to complete as many trials as possible without using Galatir's Star Sage, which is one of the most OP mythical champions for this content. I don't have him. The world record for the highest amount of trials at the moment is 18, and that is, of course, with Galatir. Now, we're going to try to come as close as possible to that without using Galatir. So I'm going to share you guys the team that I've been using to get a lot of trials. Truth be told, this is a very end game guide, okay? So I'm going to have some pretty nasty builds on some of the champions. And keep in mind, I will have some relics available by now because I've been farming the Chimera for over 3 weeks.
Hello everyone, Nubkicks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video, we were talking about this during the CVC stream I did earlier, but I have got an initial build on Newt, and we're going to be using him alongside, actually it's like spoiler for the team here, alongside Razelvarg, believe it or not, and 2 epics and 1 rare to take on Fire Knight Hard Stage 6. In a really easy farm. So the reason we're doing stage 6 as opposed to stage 10 is, well, very simply for that reason. It is much easier, it's much more accessible. So this is the initial gearing I've got on Newt, double perception and 1 righteous, really looking for lots of speed. We have him running at 251 speed. I do think that around 250 speed seems to be sort of the sweet spot that people are going to generally be aiming for even end game content, perhaps even faster, right, with better gear. We've got decent HP and defense, quite easy to do because his bases are so high. The speed is tricky with 99 base speed, so you're going to be focusing on that. 100% crit rate. We only have 222% crit damage, so a decent chunk, but nothing too crazy. And then we have 400 accuracy, which is quite a lot. For Fire Knight, by the way, I do have +6 speed, 9% crit damage, 15 attack. This doesn't really matter. 24 accuracy and 6% ignore defense. So a few little area bonuses there which are going to help us out. And by the way, for Newt, we did this on stream, but if you weren't there, these are the masteries that we built for him. We are grabbing Giant Slayer. We are grabbing Master Hexer. One interesting question was Cycle of Violence. If a skill exceeds 30% of the target's max HP, it decreases the cooldown of another skill. This was an interesting question, right? His A3 ability does 10% max HP damage per hit, so it will do exactly 30% damage if you hit the damage cap. So that was a question like, oh, you have to exceed 30% though. Would the Giant Slayer proc, would that count? Would that push you over? Haven't tested it out, but it's an interesting question. If anybody knows, please let us know. Let me show you a quick bonus first of all, which is Spider. So I've shown this team multiple times before. We were running this team lots during a CVC stream earlier today. I used to use a Royal Guard in this spot. We've actually replaced it with a Newt, though. So we've got a Coldheart. She's going to be on the Fire Knight team as well. She has to be the fastest to make the extra spiders spawn in. We get the AoE burn. We get the AoE burn explosion from Sissia. Newt nukes with his max HP hit. And then we blow him up with Artak as well. So very simple. 2 HP burn exploders. Everyone should have Artak for free. A Coldheart in there, an AoE burner. The best ones are Walking Tomb Drang and Ignatius because their burns cannot be resisted, whereas everyone else has a 3% chance to fail. Newt can honestly be any speed, so long as he goes before the spider goes, it's fine. He just does his max HP hit. Easier to do, of course, with this crit damage if he is slower than Sissia, because she puts out decreased defense and weaken. But I actually think we're so far ahead of the damage that it probably doesn't matter. And this is a nice, clean, and easy 5-turn farm. About 15 seconds here on 60 frames per second. I think it goes about 13 seconds with unlimited on my PC. So the setup for this one, Newt prioritizing A1, Drang is 261 with this. For the speeds, they just need to be like one faster than each other. Like Coldheart just needs to be the fastest. That's all, really. Then the burner needs to be slower than her. So I've got overkill there. Then first, the burn explosion here. Another burn explosion, and then Newt is coming in with his Blessed Bash as well. So there you go. That is the Spider team. Just thought that'd be a nice little bonus. Now for Fire Knight. So before this, I was honestly farming stage 2.
This is World of Warcraft, but there's no classes because there's archetypes instead. An archetype is a fusion of 2 or more classes, like this fire.
What's going on, guys? I'm YST, and welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. And we are back for the first time in 2 months and joined by the one and only Nubraids. How's it going, bro?
Hey, it's great to be on. It's great to be on, and it's great to have you back. Yes.
Yeah, I was literally just saying to Nubs before we started recording that I am nervous as heck to start recording again. It feels like day one, but yeah, we're well and truly back now. Hopefully we do more than one video every 8 weeks. That'll be a plus side, right? Let's see if we can do it.
New Year's resolution, right? Start the year as you mean to go on. There we go.
But I guess like in terms of today's video, I was actually thinking, which one am I going to do as the returning one? And, you know, we got the Chimera Clan Boss. We've got so many things, the Alice in Wonderland IPs coming through. We've had fusions. Yeah. And I was like, do you know what? Let's go with a good old-fashioned Hydra video. Talk about some Head of Torment. Very original, right? So do you I guess before we get into this, do you just want to speak very briefly about why we want to use these kind of champions to take down the Head of Torment and why they're effective?
Yeah, sure. I think this is especially relevant because we know that instant battles are coming for Hydra probably in the next 2 or 3 months, I guess, like very soon, which is, you know, you're going to have a team that works on auto. The Head of Torment is a huge problem for Hydra because when you hit him, if you don't have Perfect Veil, he puts a True Fear on your champions, and that is just absolutely crippling.
What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Here it is. We got a little teaser from Plarium today about possibly some upcoming content. So you see here, we got a keyhole followed by more keyholes in the back. And we have a kind of cryptic message to go along with this teaser image here. Some wild shenanigans are afoot in Teleria, wilder than usual. Even keep your eye to the ground and keep your eyes peeled. Something big is due to happen, and you'll want to keep your head when push comes to shove. So most of that cryptic message is kind of nothing, but the big one here is that it mentions something about keeping your head. So the big theory right now is that this is a teaser towards Alice in Wonderland. So Alice in Wonderland, if you guys did not know, is a story about a little girl basically entering a magical land and encountering all sorts of just craziness. And in some ways, it can be a little bit scary, of course. But anyways, this looks like it's going to be part of the next big event or big couple weeks or months of events. So in my opinion, I'm going to speculate a little bit here, but it's probably going to be similar to the Asgardian event where we had
Stretching will not make you flexible and it will not eliminate your recurring injuries. Stretching will relax your muscles and
Hey guys, Ash here, coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends, the first video of 2025. Welcome and Happy New Year, everybody out there. Today, we have a lot to talk about in terms of news, some good, some bad-ish. We'll get into everything today. First of all, how did you guys ring in the new year? You'll either be disappointed or you'll be able to relate with me in that I was fast asleep by 11 o'clock. I tried to stay up with my 7-year-old and I failed miserably. So anyway, here we are in 2025. And that means, first of all, some free claimable gifts, so go ahead and claim your Mythic Skill Tome. Actually, not too bad, the New Year Chain gift, so nothing to complain about there. So we start out with the Soul Stone here, and we end with the Mythical, so go ahead and make sure you log in and claim that, even if you're taking a little bit of break throughout the holidays. So we have a lot of speculation on Alice in Wonderland being added to the game. Here is the official text. I have a little bit more for you guys as well. Wild years shenanigans are afoot in Teleria. Wilder than usual, even. Keep your ear to the ground and keep your eyes peeled. Something big is about to happen. You want to have your head, keep your head when push comes to shove. And then we have the Alice in Wonderland kind of themed keyhole here. So Alice in Wonderland looks to be coming to the game. I hope it's going to be, and I think it's probably going to be a kind of a darker aesthetic. I'm thinking if anybody's familiar with kind of the American McGee's Alice, kind of that sort of vibe. I really like this art by Amy AI Art, or I guess maybe is that just AI art then? By Amy, either way. I love this aesthetic. Maybe a little bit of, I don't know, Little Miss Annie vibes, right, going on. What about you guys in terms of what you'd like to see from Alice? I hope she would be the free champion, Alice in Wonderland. Maybe like a Little Miss Annie, but a little bit less dead or undead. But let me know who you would like to see. Here's kind of the main characters. We have Alice. We have Cheshire Cat, Queen of Hearts, Peter Pan. Is Peter Pan in Alice in Wonderland? Google AI. What's going on here, man? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is. Hatter, Caterpillar, White Rabbit. Oof. I want like the super dark vibes. And also, Plarium gave us content creators this to share. You're not getting much here, just a Razovar kind of skin or whatever. But he could be, obviously, the White Rabbit, so I'm sure he'll be included somehow. The winds are shifting in Teleria. You won't want to miss this Stay Sharp adventure. So I don't know if that's like going to go live tomorrow or whatever, but it seems like an additional social media post that will be coming to tease this big IP collaboration, which I think it's going to be. Now, why do I think it's going to be the full shebang, right? We look at the last IP collaboration was Asgard. We got the 3 Loki. We had Odin dungeon, the event dungeon, all that stuff. We have the pinpoint set as a part of that dungeon. I think that all of that is coming back, only under the Alice in Wonderland IP. I thought that might be the case for He-Man, but think about it this way. He-Man is trademarked, right? So they didn't do a lot other than He-Man and Skeletor in the game, kind of very, very basic, kind of blasé there, right? But with Alice in Wonderland, this is just like Asgard, just like Thor in Norse mythology. We have Alice in Wonderland is in the public domain. So, you know, Plarium, they're going to take advantage of the public domain. I think they're going to go all out with this one. So I predict maybe Alice will be free, maybe another champion will be free, but stay tuned either way. I'll have guides and all that information when we have it. However, I couldn't help but noticing, guys, as I'm looking at this post, and I really want to kind of touch base with you guys and see how you're feeling personally, my audience, you know, who I care about more than, frankly, the Facebook responders here. No offense to Facebook responders on the social media posts. But I couldn't help noticing, and I wanted to parcel out, is this community sentiment or is this just Facebook people complaining on social media? I think it's kind of the former rather than the latter, meaning that, like, yeah, free legendaries are awesome. Sure, they could buff a billion champions in this game. There's plenty of things to fix in the game. I actually made a video, 3 reasons I'm raging right now that not many people watched compared to my other content. So maybe it's just landing on somewhat deaf ears. I don't know, but there are 3 major pain points in the game that I want to see addressed personally. I have a vested interest, right? I want viewers to continue to play the game and chill with me on a daily basis covering Raid Shadow Legends. I want new viewers to come in and new players to come in as well. So I want this game, obviously, to succeed for everybody, not just end game, not just mid game, but even new players in the game. So I outlined my own things that I want to see, the big 3 things in that video. But I couldn't help but noticing on this social media post that almost every single response of the 208 comments were complaints about the game. And it really made me feel, gosh, is Alice in Wonderland, as cool as that is, I actually think at first glance, you're like, Alice in Wonderland, that's like, come on, man, that's like super kiddie. you know. But the more you think about it, at least me, I think the IP is pretty cool, especially if they do it like with dark raid themes. And I'm not gonna, maybe I'm a sucker, which I obviously am. I'm playing Raid Shadow Legends here, right? But I do think that it's pretty cool. Like I'm excited to see what they do with it, who the free champion will be, what the dungeon will be like with the Mad Hatter or whatever it's gonna be, right? Anyway, how about fixing shards? I cracked 40 void shards on the 2x and not one legendary, bruh. Yeah, man, welcome to Raid. You must be new, Amber. You must be new. The gear from the dungeons needs a huge buff. Any gear from dungeons and dungeon diver events are a joke. Fusions aren't even worth it. Most events are total waste. I actually kind of hear this one. What about you guys? I feel like I'm on my one of my final missions right now, and it's like get 20 mythical artifacts, and it's like, oh god, what dungeon am I gonna farm? Because for an endgame player, and I know this doesn't apply to everybody, but it's like all the good artifacts now are the 9 pieces that are not associated with any dungeons. So I kind of feel this one. Like, other than Spider for essentially silver, there's the dungeons feel like they need a big update to me. What about you guys? How do you feel about dungeons? Because Gina's comment here really resonates with me. Jordan, stop the shenanigans and do something cool, like add more levels to Minnow. Or do 2x on Minnow. That would be helpful. More helpful than anything else that I planned currently, I can almost guarantee. Listen, I could sit here for an hour and a half and read all these comments, but I'll link it for you guys if you want to go ahead and take a gander yourselves. But I think that I want to stop here because I made my point. The general question remains, is it enough to keep throwing the loyalty champions at the player base to keep them satisfied? Because they're doing it with more alacrity, which is actually good. And I think these IPs are very cool, especially the event dungeon. I'm a massive fan of that. The Thor event dungeon for me was one of the highlights of 2025. And we do know that we're still getting a few quality of life improvements that will help a lot of players coming in the next few months, namely the background battles. I think that's going to be an absolute huge one. Background battles are going to allow you to farm in various areas and do various activities inside the game. I'll throw open some soul stones in the background here. They're going to allow you to do more things in the game while actually focusing on building teams and stuff like that, right? Acrizia 1, okay. So guys, let me know what you think, right? Live arena season's coming, background battles coming, but golly, the 3 things that I mentioned and the things that are annoying me, plus the minnows. The minnows is such a basic little thing that it almost seems so menial to complain about in a video, the Minotaur farming and scroll slog. It feels so obvious that they're neglecting it only for gems, only for money, right? It's just so transparent at this point, and it's such a huge and reoccurring pain point. That and Dungeon Divers, not including all the dungeons, those are 2 low-hanging fruit that Plarium could go ahead and offer a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of empathy towards the community, and fixing those 2 things, super easy fixes to start 2025 out with an absolute bang. And if they do, maybe I'm holding my breath, or I'm not holding my breath, excuse me. If I'm holding my breath, I'm in deep trouble, guys. I'm in deep trouble. Your boy Ash might not be another video in 2025. But if they do, I will absolutely make like a gratitude of all gratitude videos fixing those 2 things. Dungeon Divers apply to all dungeons, A. And B, Minnow, like super raids, a few more levels. How about 10, right? Just like every other freaking dungeon in the game. All right, guys, we're going to end it there. Let me know what you think of Alice in Wonderland. Let me know what you think of these pain points. Are you like generally happy, generally satisfied in the game? What's your clan looking like? Are people leaving? Are people coming? Are you guys like happy? Are you miserable? Let me know in the comments below, guys. I'll have another video maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow for you all, unless I hold my breath too long. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.
With the Atlantic Lottery mobile app and ALC.ca, you can play anywhere, from instant wins and casino games to bingo.
Welcome to the channel, everyone. I'm Scratch. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. We got some juicy news about the upcoming events, guys. The new collaboration that is coming to Raid Shadow Legends. We're going to talk about the new fusion. We're going to talk about the new dungeon event and the so-called extra rewards. And we have a couple of different things on the menu today, guys. Without further ado, let's dive straight into it. We actually have a couple of files in here that we can actually check out. Let's start with the very first one. So we have the event dungeon. Now, personally, I kind of like had high hopes that they will change the gear sets that we had in the previous run with the event dungeon. As you guys may notice, this is, of course, again, the pinpoint set and the accessories, similar like last time. If you guys are not familiar with what this set does, if you're a new player, basically is a very powerful set, not only for PvP, but for PvE as well. The only problem that, at least I think we had last time, we were getting a lot of accessories and we were barely getting any pinpoint gear. We were getting tons of the other gear sets, but I feel like we were not getting enough artifacts, right, from the pinpoint set. We were getting the accessories, but not the actual artifacts. That's how it felt for me. Very hard to put up a good set together, especially a 9-piece set. I actually don't think I have a full 9-piece set on any of my champions. Mainly, maybe I'm out of accessories. I might not have a good banner for them, or maybe I have trash gloves, which, by the way, I do. I don't really have a lot of amazing pieces. I have a few, but definitely looking forward to get more, because, to be honest, it's a very strong set. You can run it on damage dealers. Basically counters polymorph, right? So it's very, very nice. For PvE, it's amazing to be able to get 2 pieces of accessories. Basically, you get 20 accuracy and 10% speed from a ring and an amulet. So I would strongly suggest you from here on, stop wasting energy in the spider dungeon. This one right here should be your new home throughout the entire duration of the event. Personally, I'm not going to do anything else. I will do the fusions. I will do basically the events required for the fusion to reach the 2,250 points to get the champions or the fragments, and I'll stop there. Then back to this dungeon, and that's where all of my energy will go. No Minotaur, no nothing else. That's what I've done last time as well. So basically, we still have the accuracy, critical rate, critical damage, curing, and days together with this. It really sucks that they haven't rotated the old sets. I had higher hopes that maybe they're going to bring in a stun instead of days. Maybe they're going to bring in something that's a bit more useful, right? Either way, let's move on to the second part. Event dungeon relics, guys. So basically, these are the extra rewards that we can get from here, at least from what I understood. As a part of the campaign, 2 exclusive themed relics, epic and legendary rarity, will be introduced to the game. Both relics will belong to the event relic group. During the campaign, players will be able to obtain unique craft materials for those relics in some of the tournaments and events. That is actually good, because when they introduced the Chimera, they've mentioned, you know what, we're going to give you guys the materials from the Siege mode. We're going to give them from Live Arena. We're going to give them from tons of different areas like events and tournaments, and nothing happened so far, at least in the very first month, right? So looking forward to be able to get some of this basalt, and maybe some gemstones, you know. That's basically what's really lacking at the moment, to be able to rank up the relics. without feeding your other relics, because you have 800 plus champions in the game. You will require a lot of relics. You don't want to move them constantly from champion to champion, right? So looking forward to be able to get some materials in a way or another, basically, right?
Please welcome an absolutely new Crossout, a free-to-play multiplayer action game about battles and cool vehicles in a post-apocalyptic world.
Dudes, looking at the power of this roster in today's account takeover, can you believe that this account is only dealing like, I don't know, like 5 million damage to Hydra or something, and has not yet fully cleared Fire Knight, even though we're sitting on double Cold Heart, man. So we've got some champion rebuilding to do in this account takeover, and we're going to make all kinds of progress for Mr. Zacha and his account. Now, quick word of warning, there are a lot of changes I would like to make to this account, but check this out, man. Not only are we lacking a little bit of silver on the account by a little bit, I mean, we're like under 1 million silver, so not a lot of cash to work with, but look at the amount of artifacts on this account. Only 500 artifact storage spaces used up on this account, which is insane. Zacha, how do you do it, man? Tell us your secrets for keeping a clean artifact storage. But one thing you will notice as well, or one thing I noticed when setting up some of the Hydra team IDs and stuff on this account, there's no cursed gear on this account. There's no hex gear on this account. The set is completely missing, which is a damn shame, because there are some good support champions that we could use on this account in a cursed set if we had any cursed gear. So I don't know what's happened to that, man. But anyways, this is what we are working with. I think it's going to be a grand takeover, man. Hydra and Fire Knight, those two are the name of the game. Anyway, man, if you're looking to get involved in this account takeover series yourself, then make sure to... Then the best possible way to get a priority pass in the account takeover queue is to create a raid account using my beginner promo link down below at the top of the video description box. Hit that link, use that link to create a new raid account, and get yourself 4 free champions, including a legendary starter champion in the form of Corrado Fox Hunter. And then it's the least I can do is to give you a quick account takeover, man, and let you know how you're doing, you know, once you're a month or two in. And in order to submit your account for takeover in this takeover series, make sure to... It's a little bit of a rebuild, by the way. She's very, very slow. It only to get us through these waves alive. Okay, here we go, man. Straight under the boss. Let's see if the team AI is going to be enough here to kind of crack our way through the Fire Knight shield stacks. Double attacks in from the physics. We then get the quad hit from one of the cold hearts. It's not quite enough. God damn it, it's not quite enough.
Download Watcher of Realms for free now.
Hello, I'm Kads, and welcome to today's video, the first video of the brand new year 2025. So officially, Happy New Year. I'm back at home and I'm ready to get back in the saddle. I wanted to start the year off talking more about strategy before we get back into the normal grind or normal cadence of my style of videos. So this video is going to be centered around shards, and the next one's going to be centered around fusions. Today I'm going to be addressing the age-old question, that being, how on earth do you have so many shards on a free-to-play account? Did you secretly spend on them? Is it even possible to have this much? Do you just never pull your shards? We're going to talk about all of that and more. One of the main reasons I wanted to discuss this topic was to show you guys what an endgame free-to-play shard gain can look like. So you might not be able to do it 6 months in the game, a year into the game, maybe even 2 years into the game, but if you keep sticking with it, you keep playing long enough, you should be able to get somewhere close to the numbers we're going to talk about today. And the other big reason was I wanted to highlight how I use my shards, and arguably more importantly, how I don't use my shards when it comes to all the summoning events in the game. And as a bonus, maybe we can dispel some of those tinfoil hat theories as well. So the way I did this was was I tracked all of my shard gains and pulls over the past couple of months, that being November and December of 2024, and I comprised it into, of course, a lovely spreadsheet, the shard log here. And as you can see here, we have all the shards that I gained over the 2 months. We have November, and if we scroll further down, we have December, tracking each of the days where I happened to get a shard, what type of shard it was, and how many I got, and where, of course, where they came from. One thing that might have jumped out at you is that a lot of the primal entries do have decimal places. That is because, of course, we typically are awarded primal shards in the form of quartz, which you can, of course, combine into a primal shard. But every once in a while, they do give us a straight-up primal shard. But just reflecting the fact that you can get partials of primals as compared to only getting wholes of the rest of the types of shards. And then if we unhide the columns, we could take a look at the results. I have it broken down by month, shard type, as well as each of the different sources, as well as aggregating all of the pulls over that period, as well as some of the summary totals that we're going to get to a bit later. Now, one big caveat I do want to add here is that this was done entirely manually, so there is probably some human error aspect as far as the sources are concerned. Some sources might be higher than what's actually possible in terms of the coding of the game, and we'll talk about a few of those as we go along, but the overall number of them should be accurate to the best of my abilities, but they might not all be apportioned to the exact location where they were from. I definitely gave it my best shot, but admittedly it was fairly difficult to remember 100% of the time to always input exactly where I got every single shard over the course of 2 months. So let's dive into the results and talk about some of these sources. Of course, you have your daily login reward. That's just from the calendar where you log in every day and you claim a reward. This will vary greatly depending on your progression in the game, but once you are beyond 270 days, it's going to be the same for everyone. And that is, of course, what I'm reflecting as one being in the end game. The shop is reflecting the free ancient that you get every week from there. Missions are, of course, any missions that you do that happen to give you shards. This will vary wildly. Again, depending on your progression, some missions will give you more earlier on, like I recall, like the Faction Wars missions for Arbiter or something that definitely give a lot of voids. And of course, if you happen to have all of the mission champions, this entry will be 0 for you. So it kind of depends where you are in the game. But in my case, I am still working on the Marius mission. So here and there, I ended up getting some shards from there. Quests are, of course, the quests that you work on every day, every week, and every month. And that should be a fixed amount of shards, assuming you're doing them 100% of the time. The market should net you 5 ancient shards per month, as you can see here. Not exactly correct, but we do have 10 total. So I guess that's kind of correct. I don't really know what happened there, but you should get 5 per month just by buying them with silver. Clan activity is the entry for when you're just logging in every day and hitting that button within your clan tab, and sometimes it pops out an ancient shard here and there. I only got 2. The clan shop, if there happens to be something in the clan shop, typically a void. CVC, of course, this will vary wildly depending on the tier that you compete in, but you do get some rewards in terms of shards from there. Tournaments and events, that's of course just doing stuff in the game, or they happen to have some rewards in the game from those events. Dungeons, you should get 5 per month from dungeons. It's a 0.5% chance for it to happen when it comes to running any dungeon in the game. I don't know how I have 14 logged. That shouldn't be possible. So again, I think there's a little bit of error there, but should be a maximum of 5 per month. Classic Arena is just when you get your weekly reward chest from the Classic Arena. I happen to get some ancients from that. Live Arena is, of course, getting your 35 wins, however long that happens to take you. You can get up to some maximum amount of primal shards from that. Obviously, you can see here, we did not max that out, so we'll get back to that a little bit later. The Bazaar, you get the 1 ancient every week, you get 1 sacred every month, and you get 2 voids every 2 weeks, or 2 a month. Demon Lord Clan Boss, of course, the primary source of all shards in the game. This is for Hydra Clash. You can basically only get some primal shards from that. Doom Tower, normal and hard, and then the latest entry, of course, being the Siege mode, where you can also get some primal quartz. So what are the main takeaways here? Let's start off with the big kahuna, that being Demon Lord Clan Boss. Of course, this is the primary source of shards outside of primals, and that is why, as content creators, we always tell you guys to focus as your #1 focus when you're starting off with the game, to get your Demon Lord Clan Boss team up and running so that you can get to Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare. Ideally 1 keys, but even 2 keys will work just because you get 4 a day, just so you can get the maximum amount of shards you can on a regular basis. Just based on the drop rates from the Clan Boss, you would expect to get around 8 Sacreds from Ultra Nightmare and 4 from Nightmare. So November, you can see we hit it dead on average when it comes to Ultra Nightmare, but we were definitely on the lower side when it comes to Nightmare. That's just pure RNG. They did not change the Clan Boss rates, as I know a lot of people like to say that, but they didn't change it. It's just a local bad RNG, not a good month, but it's averaged out over many months. It will approach the mean that we're usually typically seeing. And the other main thing I want to point out is that you get a substantial amount of ancient shards from the Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. You might not notice it, you might not feel it. Ancient shards are not the flashiest ones in the game, but getting 30 per month is pretty substantial when it comes just to running Ultra Nightmare, although Nightmare didn't deliver that much in November. When it comes to the voids, I think getting 12-ish is around where you'd expect it to. We're probably a little bit low on Nightmare, but overall it's still pretty good in terms of the return for both of the months. When it comes to December, we were definitely on the bad side of the RNG when it comes to the shard types. We're under the average for Ultra Nightmare, and we got a whopping 0 from Nightmare, which is pretty surprising. However, it's not as surprising when you look at the ancient shards. You can see here that it doubled from the last month. And I point this out to say that when you roll on the shard table, you're more likely to get ancients than you are to get the voids and the sacred, of course, as you'd expect. But it's really easy to just look at your sacred and say, oh my god, I got shafted, I didn't get any secrets, they must have changed the rates. But then if you really take a look over here and you can see, oh, well, I rolled shards a bunch of times, but I just happened to get unlucky this month and I got a lot more ancients, which then took the spot of what could have been a void and or a sacred. In this case, majority of the sacreds. And then when it comes to the lower difficulties, I know these are kind of just an afterthought for a lot of people, especially those in the end game. But when you think about it, on average, you should get around 1 void from brutal and hard if you do it every day. I don't necessarily do it. I'm working towards that as a goal. My Ultra Nightmare team has been like 1/2 key for a while now, soon to be, hopefully, a full 1 key team, so I should be able to do that, do all 4 of these difficulties every day from here on out. But it is nice to point out that these are technically worth doing. It's small, you know, again, 1 void a month is not substantial, but that might be the difference between you having enough for a guaranteed or some other type of summoning event in the game. You never know. Might as well max it out if you can. And then, of course, you will get a couple of, I guess, a handful of ancients per month on average. The other section I wanted to draw your attention to was actually the tournaments and the events. I think these shards that you typically get kind of go under the radar because you're typically focusing on like higher up rewards. And honestly, I could just hop in the game really quickly and show you exactly what I mean. So if we take a look at the artifact enhancement going on right now, you can see that generally speaking, if you're going to do this, there's like some Titan event points, there's some fusion points. So you're most likely going to stop at 4775. But if you did go a bit further to 5600, typically somewhere around here, there is an ancient shard. Or for people that generally max these out because you're running out of space, like myself, you know, you just go on to 6500 and beyond, and you don't even think about the fact that you just got an ancient shard along the way. And likewise, when it comes to the tournaments, I believe there's like the champion training tournament going on right now. A lot of people, myself included, we're going to be laser focused on the legendary tome and the mythical tome, and you might not have noticed that I got half a primal along the way as well as another ancient shard. And then there's like the Ice Column Turn Attack tournament. Typically there's something near the top that kind of pulls your focus. It could be a free prism summon in a summon pool, it could be something else, but again, you might not notice that you get an ancient shard along the way, and all of those incidental ancient shards, void shards, sacred shards, whatever, add up, and they can be substantial in the end. One other thing to mention is that December is going to be a little bit higher than normal in terms of the shard acquisition because it's the Christmas time, so you're going to get the daily login stuff, you're going to get free stuff for Christmas. We have something going on for New Year's as well. Black Friday has typically more shard events than usual, and we'll talk about shard pulling a little bit later. And then, of course, there's also Titan events, which may or may not happen on any given month, and so some months will reflect it, like December in this case. There was definitely a sacred that I got from the Titan event, but there wasn't one in November, so that's just going to be a little bit higher in terms of overall shard acquisition. And the last thing to discuss is Live Arena. I said I'd get back to it, and yeah, I think the maximum you can get is like 400 or 450, I forget the exact number, but as you can see here, we're definitely not maxing it out. So the promos that I'm getting could be a lot higher, so I'm not going to say that this amount of primals is what you should expect to see over the course of a month or a couple of months. It could be a lot higher if you're really maxing out Live Arena, which I clearly am not. I am a 1 win a day quest Andy here, and so that is kind of the minimum you could expect, maybe better way to put it, the minimum you could expect to get over the course of a couple of months. Now let's talk about the shard pulling aspect, this row way up here. I went back in time to make sure that I'm accurately reflecting all the shard events I participated in over the course of the months, and then we'll also talk about these shard events that I did not participate in, or ones that I didn't have to pull any shards for. So let me run through a quick summary of all the shard pulls I participated in November and December. Starting, of course, with November, we have -6 sacreds here. This was part of the Gretel fusion, the Halloween fusion. There's also a Pogo event going on at the time, which is a nice, convenient thing, but primarily I was pulling for the purpose of getting the fragments for that fusion done. We have 30 voids used for 2x voids. This was in between the Halloween fusion and the stock fusion, and I was just pulling just because I was going for the legendary tomes from the champion chase. No other purpose. Once I got that, I stopped. And then we have the 70 ancients. This is 2x ancients, but this is more importantly during the stock fusion, during that champion chase. So we were going for the fragments as well as probably pursuing some of the legendary tomes, the lower level legendary tomes. When it comes to December, the sacreds are broken up into a couple of categories. We had the stock summon rush, as you might expect. We had to do the other half of the fusion, so we pulled 7 for the purpose of that summon rush. Granted, this was also the start of the Yuletide Titan event, and so there were some Titan event points in that summon rush as well. so it's kind of a duality of goals there. So 7 Sacreds for that, just because I wanted to get some of the Yuletide Titan event points on top of getting the fragments for the stock fusion. A few days later, I pulled 6 Sacreds as well. That was part of the Path of Power for the Yuletide Titan event. I wanted to get as many Titan event points as possible. As you may recall, this is during the Black Friday summons time frame, and so they actually had a 2x on Ancients, Sacreds, and Voids at the same time, and my original plan was to dump some Ancients into that, but on the last few days, they announced that there's going to be a Sacred Pogo, and for me, in my circumstance, it was a better investment to go for that, and I did happen to hit the Pogo as well, which is pretty nice. And then the last of the Sacreds that was used for that month was in the Lady Noelle summon rush. For the Voids, you can see we pulled 0. We didn't have to pull any. There was a 2x Voids in December for the Lady Noelle fusion as well, the Champion Chase, but as I documented in my summary post for the Lady Noelle fusion, I didn't have to pull any shards for the Champion Chase. I used a lot of fusion champions, those dedicated to the Lady Noelle fusion itself. I summoned Carnage, and I think I also had a free Prism summon as well, the one that we got near Christmas. And then we have the Ancient Shards for December. This is, of course, the infamous session where we got our Valkyrie during the 2x Ancients in between the stock and Lady Noelle fusions. I guess it's worth mentioning that typically for a fusion, you're going to need around 60 to 70 Ancients just to get the fragments or the rare from the Champion Chase. You need about 30 Voids, and you would need up to 8 Sacreds. There wasn't any 2x Sacreds that I had to participate in over the past couple of months, so that is, of course, not reflected in our summons here. And I also want to note that the 130 Ancients I was pulling was because I was going for both of the Legendary Tomes in the Champion Chase, and so if I was going for the lower one, I would not have pulled all the way out to 130. I probably would have pulled somewhere around 60, 70, maybe 80 worst case. The other side of this I want to acknowledge is all of the shard events that I did not participate in. So you can see here that basically any progressive chance midweek, end of week, we didn't participate in unless it was associated with the fusion. Those aren't really a good investment, in my opinion, in terms of shards, because there's a really low chance, I want to say like 5-ish% chance that you're going to hit a non-void legendary during a progressive chance events at the 15x space rate. That's what most people should expect if you're free to play. You're not going to hit the 20x or the 25x realistically, just because you're not going to be able to pull enough shards to get that many legendaries back to back. But you can definitely play around Mercy when it comes to those events, and so it might be good to invest if you happen to be close to Mercy, but I do think you typically get a better return on your investment when it comes to Pogo events. Same thing kind of playing around Mercy, which we happen to have 2 that I was able to participate and proc over the course of the past 2 months, which is definitely an anomaly when it comes to your standard month. This is part of the reason why I don't cover a lot of these shard events that happen in the game unless I'm actively participating in it, because 1, I think it's pretty much handled by some of the bigger content creators like Nubkex and Scratch, and 2, I don't really feel like I have to tell you guys every single week to not pull your shards and be strategic about it. In my opinion, most people don't need to hear that message because they already operate that way, and me telling someone who is going to pull anyways not to pull is probably not going to be the factor that's going to stop them from doing it. So with all of that out of the way, let's talk about the takeaways from the totals over the past couple of months. The first row here is the positive sum, meaning it's the sum of all the positive values, how many shards we actually brought in over the course of the couple of months, and it's actually surprisingly consistent. 99 Ancients in November, 103 in December, so you could say on average we're getting about 100 Ancients per month. Voids, 35 in the November and 34 in December, so again, pretty consistent, somewhere around 30 to 35 Voids per month. For the Sacreds, we got 13 and 12, and honestly, this is probably lower than it should be because, as we highlighted before, we had a bad RNG couple of months when it comes to getting Sacreds from the Demon Lord Clan Boss, underwhelming in Nightmare in particular. So realistically, these should have been closer to like 15, 16 Sacreds for the entire month. And then lastly, we have the Primal Shard acquisition, which again is probably lower than it should be for a person of my caliber, just because I'm not maxing out the potential in the live arena every month. The second row here is the net shards, that being the positive sum minus the amount that we pulled for each of the respective months. And one thing I want to point out here is that when it comes to 2x events, typically they're on a 6-week rotation, meaning that over the course of 3 months, you're only going to see the same one twice. And so that can definitely have an impact on the pluses and minuses of the amount of shards that you use. And then in the case of Primal Shards, it's even more infrequent because the best time to pull is when it's a 2x on epics, legendaries, and mythicals, which is probably once every 2 to 3 months, give or take. So in terms of each of the net values, you can see here that for November, we had a net gain of about 30 Ancients. We pulled 70, but I gained around 100. For the Voids, a lot slimmer margins there, 35 gained and 30 spent, so only a net gain of 5. Primals, we didn't pull any, so of course it was all gains. Sacred Shards, we gained 13, pulled 6. 6, and so a net gain of 7. December is a little bit different. For the ancient shards, we gained 100, we spent 130, so we lost basically everything we gained for November, about 30 or so. But again, I want to point out that this was a special circumstance of me pulling more than the typical amount that I would pull for a 2x ancient, just because I was trying to max out the potential for legendary tomes. And in my situation, I have a lot of ancient shards, and so I can easily just eat the cost of an extra 30 shards for the month and it not make a real dent in my overall stack. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't pull any voids for the entire month of December, so we got to bank all 34 of those into the stack. And that was mainly because I didn't really have to, but also I'm trying to preserve my proximity to Mercy to pursue some of the void legendaries that I want from progressive chance events. And then for the sacreds, we're actually net negative -7, but that's primarily because one, we had 2 summon rushes in the same month. That's just how the calendar worked out for those 2 fusions. And then of course you had the addition of the Yuletide Titan event where we had the Path of Power Pogo event going on, and so there was an extra summons in there on top of what I would normally do, just min-maxing for fusions. So when you
Ooh. Nice hat. But it's your head I'm after.
Concentrate, Oboro.
Nothing personal, honey. But I got cubs to feed.
It must be my lucky day. A bounty to collect and a score to settle.
She's mine!
I don't think so. Rise, my child. To make darkness your ally, you must remember. The eyes may provide sight, but a clear mind grants vision.
Now there's a bounty on you, too. We better get going.
Use this promo code and get a free Epic Champion. Raid Shadow Legends.
My warrior of light, walk free and bear the light for others to follow.
You do know you're not alone in this, don't you?
We Scions will fight until our last breath.
Become light. Become hope.
Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, I want to go over a tool that we use basically in our day-to-day raid grinding. I get this question very often, so I want to go over this tool in its entirety with you guys today in this video. The tool that I'm talking about is actually Raid Shadow Legends Helper. It's a massive tool created by Farbstoff and managed by him and his moderator team. It's an incredible tool, like I said, and you know, it makes life a lot easier for everyone playing on the PC. So I'll show you guys how to download it, how to use the features for it, at least as of this video updated for 2024. And yeah, we'll break down every little detail as much as I know in my day-to-day uses. And yeah, let's get right into it. Hey guys, so I'm going to provide you guys with the working download app for the application. Make sure you guys be careful about downloading this application from random links that you guys see on the internet. They might not be working or it might be corrupted, so just be very careful about that. This link I did get from his official Discord, which is what they supply to people looking for a fresh download link. So I will provide that in the description below. Make sure you guys download that and use that link to install the program. There are some little kinks with trying to get to work. So the first time you try to get to work, you might not be able to run it properly. The biggest issue that I've ran into with installing and then getting it to run properly is basically your own antivirus will block this program, viewing it as a threat and so forth. So the easiest way to get around that is to basically go into your security security network manager, and then basically go into your firewall and then place the RSL helper folder, the whole file, as part of the exceptions for the firewall. And then once you do that, open the RSL helper application as an administrator, and it will always run no problem from that moment on. So that is my biggest tip for you guys. That saves you guys a lot of headache if you guys run into issues with your antivirus. So make sure you guys do that. So I'm going to skip like a lot of that initial setup stuff because I don't think that's what this video is for. This video is for showing you guys how to use it in your day-to-day life. So I'm going to jump into the day-to-day life part of it. So starting your day, I basically leave my RSL helper on my bottom toolbar here. I open it as administrator. I have it running as administrator all the time, but in this case, I'll start it off as if your first time, so I'll run it as administrator. It opens up. This is the most recent release. This is what it should look like when it's running. And here we go. So as soon as you click the application, it will load the game up for you. And this is a very proper loading sequence. It will load the account last logged into for Plarium Play. So if you last logged into your friend's account, for example, it will load your friend's account. So make sure it's on the correct account that you want to be loaded. So now we are entered into one of my accounts. Cool tip here, if you guys didn't know, FarbStop included this plus button maybe about 6 months ago. But basically, if you click this plus button, it will close your instance of Plarium Play, and then it will open Plarium Play again, and it will allow you to switch your accounts. So once you do that, once you switch your accounts, you can actually, RSL Helper will load that account as well. So then you will have two accounts running at the same time off RSL Helper. Now, this isn't something that RSL Helper exclusively does. You can actually do this without RSL Helper, but it requires you going into Task Manager and closing Plarium Play, for example, and then reopening it. So RSL Helper button, it will close your instance of Plarium Play, and then it will open Plarium Play again, and it will allow you to switch your accounts. So once you do that, once you switch your accounts, you can actually, RSL Helper will load that account as well. So then you will have two accounts running at the same time off RSL Helper. Now, this isn't something that RSL Helper exclusively does. You can actually do this without RSL Helper, but it requires you going into Task Manager and closing Plarium Play, for example, and then reopening it. So RSL Helper does all that for you, which is very, very convenient. So here we have the opening screen. So right now you see it's all kind of black. Sometimes it requires you to basically hook the game onto the helper. So what I would like to do once in a while is basically hop into like a campaign run for 4 energy and then just do a quick run just to make sure that everything kind of loads up. See, look, you see some of the opponents are loading up here. So just make sure you run a quick run with your team. Any team, doesn't matter. It could be part of your normal daily routine. So it could be part of your quest or anything like that. Just do one run to make sure everything runs smoothly. Okay, you see here, everything is running smoothly. We got the stage showing 12-3, showing one completion, 3 turn count, and then it's showing the reward that we got. Okay, so everything looks good. It's hooked on properly. Back to the Bastion we go. So let's go over some of the features of this amazing app. Okay, so if it's your first time running it, it's going to look incredibly daunting, I would say. But of course, using any kind of new tool for the first time will be a little bit overwhelming. So let's, the first thing you want to do is, like I said, if you want to try to use it just to auto run your training, for example. Let's say I just wanted to run campaign. Okay, if I wanted to run campaign, I'm in campaign. I I can run it all. I can just click this green arrow button, and then if I have this box click that says run effective resources, it will run all my energy down without stopping, but only effective resources. So only what is available here, it will run it all the way down. And it will always run it down for the rest of, until this application freezes or crashes or your computer restarts or something like that. So it will constantly be running it. So every 4 energy that regenerates, it will run another run. Okay, so it's something to keep in mind. If you take your arrow off here and then you put next to max HP, you could do this as well. So you could have run effective resources and then put next to max HP. So you'll run your effective resources, and then these, once these are max HP, you will stop. So the helper will stop. Okay, so we could, or you could do something like this. You could do something like remove this and then put, I want to run 2 runs. Okay, so how about we do 2 runs, and then we can click go, for example. So I'm going to run 2 runs here, and then I can do something else on the side, my other monitor, watch TV while the runs are running. It doesn't use multi-battles. It'll auto sell the gear based on your sell file, which is something I'll go over here as well. So you see here, and it will stop after the second one. So once it reaches 0, it stops. So no more runs. Okay, so that's very basic of how you want to use this in a very basic way. So the other way you can use it, so this check mark is for effective resources, which is the resources right here. You could also run it infinitely. Or you could do auto refill. So auto refill will automatically refill your energy once it goes empty. With gems, it also will use your inbox energy first. So if you have inbox energy, it will take the inbox energy and use that before it uses gems. Okay, you can then set max. You can set max refills 100, for example, if you want to do it that way. Yeah, so there's a couple different ways of how you want to run these type of runs. You could also do this in dungeons, so it doesn't change. So once you go to dungeons, for example, spider, it goes to spider, shows you some stats. That's kind of useful first time, right? You can go auto refill, and I want to do 100 refills of spider, and then I'll just click this green arrow and it'll go for 100 refills. Okay, so it works for spider. Another interesting point here that was kind of updated not too long ago is this target event points. You could click this target event button, and then it will give you all the active events. Sometimes this can be a little bit glitchy, so make sure you guys have a fresh reload of the app, fresh update reload of your game, so all this info is up to date. So for example, you could click this one, get artifacts, which is basically translated to dungeon divers. And then you have all these milestones in the dungeon divers currently active. You could click on whichever milestone you want. Let's say, oh, I want this prism crystal. So now I would just click auto refill and then just click this green arrow, and I would run spider auto refilled with gems and inbox energy until I reach this prism crystal. Until I reach the desired points for this prism crystal. Okay, so yeah, it's an easy way to do things if you have the resources to do it and you don't have time to micromanage anything. Okay, back to campaign. So back to campaign, another very popular thing that you could do is actually make sure there's no tournament points here, right? You're not doing tournaments anymore. Another very popular thing to do here is running food in your automatically. So you don't have to do manual swapping of your food. So this is what you need to do. When you're here in campaign, you go to multi-level XP, click this box, go to set food. You go to set food. Now you're showing everything you have everything available to you. You can show your vault champions, you can show your reserve vault champions, faction guardian champions, only fusion. So you can select any one of these. So usually, let's say I moved all my food to my main box. Okay, so I recently just pulled my void shards, so I have a bunch of void 3-star food here. So I want to level them up. Okay, so what I'd like to do to make sure that it doesn't really bug out on me, because sometimes it does bug out, especially when it's automatically changing things. So I like to do this step manually to ensure that it does not bug out. I picked 3 copies that I will 100% remember because in this box here, they're kind of out of order. So in game, I'll select, let's say these 3 bellowers. Perfect. There's no other bellower here, right? So I'll select 3 bellowers.
Score up to 70% off store-wide and online at Michael's. Get incredible savings during our mega clearance event. Save big on Christmas and shop great deals on creative supplies when you stock up at our end-of-year clearance. Don't wait. Get it before it's gone.
Whatever your personality, we've got your escape. We've got pure performance for the go-getters, hybrid range for the road trippers, and for the game changers, electric when you want, gas when you need. 3 powertrains, 1 perfect fit, so you can make your escape your way. Now get this great offer on eligible 2025 Escape models.
And then in this, in the application, I will go and select my 3 bellowers wherever they are. So I'll look for them. Oh, okay, great. So the game did actually select them. So, okay, so the 3 bellowers are selected. Perfect. Sometimes that's not the case, okay? So sometimes you have to manually select the 3 bellowers. Okay, now I would manually select multiples of 3. So I'll be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Because the reason why is because obviously 1 run takes 3, right? So let's say you had an odd number. Let's say you go 1, 2, 3, 4. The thing is, once you get to this last one, the app won't sub out the others, and then you'll basically be running with 2 maxed out, and 1 is just running from 1 to 30, for example. So here, I select multiples of 3, so we're doing 8 full sets of 3-star food. At this point, I would just click go, and depending what I want to select, whether I want to run effective resource or auto refill. In this case, it'll probably be auto refill because I'll just be using my gems or inbox energy to completely level up these 1 stars up to 30, these 3 stars up to level 30. And then once they're done, the application will stop. Okay. So there's also some other functionalities here. What you could do is basically have the helper auto select for you. Auto select. So you can click auto select. So you can, let's clear this queue. You can select auto select and then click auto select. Okay. In this case, the game will basically just select the best for you. However, like I said, once you reach the point where you don't have exactly level 1, what if you have a level 4? When you have a level 4, that level 4 will probably reach 31st, right? It'll reach 31st, it will get subbed out, and then another level 1 will come in, but then you'll probably have like 2 level 29s hanging around. So now it's not nice and flush and clean anymore. So it'll get kind of messy that way. So that's why I kind of like to do this step manually, so at least at the end you have sets of 30 completed without wasting energy. Whereas in other instances, you might have like 1 or 2 or 3 like champions that are not properly 30. They might be like 14, 16, 19, and they're all running like together or something like that. There's other functionalities here, like, for example, you could use level limit. It's kind of handy if you want to kind of shave off a little bit of energy. For example, you could use level limit, click level limit, and then for let's say 2-star champions, you can select level limit 19. So all your 2 stars that you select will be level 19, and then it will stop. So it allows you to save a little bit of energy by finishing them off yourself in like normal campaign instead. So for example, helper won't be able to change the difficulty for you. So helper won't be, so once you set the difficulty that you're running on, it won't be able to change it mid run or whatever like that. So level limit is good for that if you want to finish off champions yourself. Or you can let the helper finish it off later, but you have to reset it to run basically one run at like a lower difficulty to save a little bit of energy. The other thing you can use limit for, level limit, is for basically leveling champions up a little bit just for extra points during training tournaments and then stopping. So instead of using brews to get quick points, you can use energy instead and level champions up to a predetermined level, and then having helper stop. This isn't going to be like a training efficiency video, so I don't want to dive into that. My main strategy is basically I never use energy to level up champions if I can help it. I use brews because brews have no other use in this game besides training, whereas energy and gems and so forth can be used for other things. So I try to use brews whenever possible. Brews have very limited value anyways. That's my whole strategy on training. All right, back at the Bastion. So let's jump into another key feature that you guys might be using the helper for, and that's actually going to be the Forge. You guys click the Forge here. Notice that the helper auto-selected a couple things here. It selected Auto Forge and it selected Auto Refill. So what you could do is actually this. You could actually set up helper to automatically craft things for you, and it will keep or sell the crafts based on your cell setting file. So I mentioned this cell setting file earlier when you're farming any campaign, any dungeon. The helper will sell or keep items.
Put him in Merciless at 236 speed. I've got some accuracy in his kit. I'm just curious, really. Like, can he just run into Spider 20 and just do it by himself? I don't know if Raider thought about this. Spider 20, I'm running at 236 speed right now. So if you just throw anyone in alongside him that's doing damage, it becomes a joke. Stage 10, Dragon Hard. But damn, he's so crazy for PvE.
Hey, are you okay? You look scared.
Do you know what's really fun? Making a website on Wix.
The mighty God of heaven. Song 2's opening drum beat is actually impossible.
How many charging stations are actually near me? Get answers at EDQ.
We don't sell produce here much at Polyface. In the past, we've had a couple people in past years who took an interest in horticulture, and and did, sell produce here. Right now, we don't have anybody. I'm looking for somebody to come and actually build a horticulture business here. So, so we garden for ourselves. So we garden, of course, in the hoop houses. In these hoop houses that are empty in the summer, we...
Today's a crazy day, guys. Not too long ago, somebody gifted me their Raid Shadow Legends account to see what we got going on in terms of Champions collection. First and foremost, I mean, it's looking pretty goddamn stacked. Dudes, I gotta take a look at the Great Hall, man. Oh my god, look at the shard stockpile, actually. Okay, we'll check out the shards in just a second, but the Great Hall? Oh my god, man, is that a beautiful sight?
I had an experience with an
Legendary schmegendaries. Forget all about them, because today I'm going to show you 3 rare champions you've got to have on your team. Ready? At number 3, we got Bellower. Want to level up your champions efficiently? Bellower can carry any team through the campaign. With 3 AoE attacks that got different crowd-controlled debuffs, this champion is the ultimate farmer. Oh wow, the design team really nailed that one, huh? Moving on to number 2, Coldheart. This dark elf has a quadruple A1 attack, great for breaking Fire Knight's shield. Plus her A3 targets one enemy, lowering their turn meter by 100%, inflicting damage according to their max HP, making Coldheart a real boss slayer. On the top spot, we have a champion with versatile skills that include a triple attack, 50% heals, increased speed buffs, and turn meter fills. you can put to great use in any battle mode. Want to know who he is and get him for free? Well, use this promo code and start raiding. Legendary schmegendaries.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Twin sisters with completely different aesthetics. Okay.
One says, forgive me, Father, other says, punish me, Daddy. Both get on their knees, both love missionary, amen. Versus 8 men, God, I'm coming, religious versus delicious. One meal supreme.
Put your hand on the wall. Put your hand down. Rub your elbow. Put your hand on the wall. Put your hand on the wall. Put your hand down. Rub your elbow. Put your hand on the wall. Put your hand on the wall. Put your hand down.
Oh my goodness, this game is so exciting! You can select a dragon immediately when it's released.
Hey guys.
Hey Benny, happy Star Wars Day.
Okay.
Can I make you breakfast? Admiral Akbar's snack bar is open for business.
No, thanks. Leonard and I are just going to the funeral.
You sure? Not even coffee? We have R2 decaf. Maybe a nice cafe au lait.
And if you're not in the mood for coffee, I can always make you a chai tea 3PO.
Oh, I get it. Like C-3PO. What happened to me? Sweetie, are you sure you don't want to come with us to the funeral?
Oh, I appreciate the offer, but Arthur is gone, and there's nothing I can do about it. When Darth Vader struck down Obi-Wan, did Luke cry like a baby and go to his funeral?
No, he blew up the Death Star. Why do I know this?
Before you go, at least let me...
I just bought this pickup truck for the price of a bicycle. Seriously, these unsold trucks have been confiscated by the police and are now sold for scraps. Swipe left to see prices.
Today, the FBI briefed me that as of now, we have no information that anyone else is involved in the attack. They've established that the attacker was the same person who planted the explosives in those ice coolers in 2 nearby locations in the French Quarter, just a few hours before he rammed into the crowd with his vehicle. They assessed he had a remote detonator in his vehicle to set off those 2 ice chests.
Mas vai descer lá pra descer no final.
I don't know. There used to be like, well, I don't know. How do you prevent the snow and slush from doing this to your vehicle? Like, that's pretty significant. It's pretty packed in there. But is that a problem? I imagine that's not very good for stuff. Like, but it's so packed in there. There we go. just feel like that can't be good for the vehicle.
This video of Barron Trump growing up is going viral.
Please welcome an abs.
You're a dumbass. You're a dumbass. You're great. You're a dumbass.
Well, folks, it's a tough day at the yard for this trucker. First encounter with a stick shift? Maybe. Clutch Wrestling Championship? Definitely. The truck.
What's going on, guys? I'm YST and welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video.
And today we're going to be speaking about a secret weapon epic which I removed from the vault to go into my main finite hard 10 team for a speed farm. And it's actually Old Gruckus from the Ogrin Tribes faction. And I think since its release, I have not heard anything about this epic in so many videos, and I think it's one of the most underrated ones out there for sure. So what does it come down to? I was actually searching for a selection of debuffs, or for one champion. I know I was kind of dreaming in dreamland. And then, truth behold, there was actually one out there, and it was Old Gruckus. So it was actually decrease attack, heal reduction, and leech. And after 5 years, it's the only one on my account that brings all of this for one champion kit. And I was like, all right, it can't get better than this, right? This is everything. Well, it does, because he's got an A1 triple hitter to take down that Fire Knight shield. And this is phenomenal in the grand scheme of things. So we got an AoE attack with heal reduction and decrease attack on a 3-turn cooldown, on a 2-turn duration, which is ideal. And then we got a decreased speed debuff coming out from this A2 and a chance to manipulate Turn Meter as well at a 40% chance, which of course grows with the book values. So whether that be for the hard Fire Knight or the normal, you're still getting decreased speed and Turn Meter reduction for the normal version, as well as reducing incoming damage and heal reduction if you don't have full control over the boss, right? And with the free-to-play series coming up, this is the champion that's definitely on my hit list when I'm summoning those shards. And yes, I am getting involved in the free-to-play series. It should be really fun, right? Maybe I'll call out Deadwood Jedi once more for another little friendly competition. And then also that leech allowing us to heal by 18% of the damage inflicted. And, you know, in those teams, once again, when you're surviving the smacks, you want to have a way to self-heal. And what a better way than a leech debuff, right? And reducing those shield counters. But I guess outside of finite usage, there's going to be the Nether Spider. If you're familiar with the Geomancer strategy, how it works is you place the HP burn onto the boss from the Geomancer in particular, and then through his Stone Guard passive, you're able to reflect that damage back. But then by making the Spiderlings counterattack, the boss actually heals unless they're under a heal reduction. So is it one of a kind? No, you can use someone like a Venom Mage for the same role. But if you don't have the luxury of that, having an AoE heal reduction is ideal for stuff like the Nether Spider, as well as decrease attack and speed. You know, slow down that boss a little bit, give you some time to heal and cleanse off those debuffs through the poisons. And then the last area I think is an MVP for is going to be Amius the Lunar Archon. I was actually looking through the optimizer to see, is there a rotation with the Ogrin tribes? And actually, yes, some people have been using Old Gruckus in their teams. Why am I in the clan boss for? We are going to be doing a Chimera video, by the way. I've got a 1-key Ultra Nightmare, which I can showcase without enemy max HP. So feel free to subscribe if you haven't already to check that one out. So if we just go into Cursed City, it's not this rotation, so I can't show it right now. But in the place where I'm using a Venom Mage, you could just put a Old Gruckus in there, and it's going to make sure that the base form doesn't heal from the damage they inflict with the heal reduction. You've got decrease attack as well to reduce the incoming damage of the boss. And then you've got that leech to heal back up as well. So covering many roles that are very similar to Venom Mage in hindsight. But of course, Venom Mage brings that poison debuffs and the detonations for some further damage. So I might use it for one of my Sunday polls that I like to do. Who would you like to use more, Venom Mage or the Old Gruckus? Or just let me know in the comments if you miss out on that poll. So right, let's get back into Old Gruckus here and the ways that I've built him. Here we go. There we go. And for, you may see that there's a piece missing. There's a reason for that. I had to rebuild a team that I used to use, which was No Freeze Champions in a Finite Hard 10 team, which was inspired by Faberstuff actually. I'm using a Senna team. And then I'll also put the gear back onto him so we can showcase the main team that I use every single day, but that has enemy max HP in it, whereas the other one doesn't. And the ways that I built it is straight out perception, giving us the 2 stats that we are definitely looking for on Old Gruckus, because we're getting speed and accuracy, allowing us to reach those thresholds to take down the encounters that we're doing, right? And then we're going for some crit rate here, a bit of damage where we can, because we actually want Old Gruckus to die in some scenarios, which we're going to showcase. But of course, if you want some more survivability, this isn't a damage dealer, so you could go HP or defense percent as well. But just look for those priority stats being speed and accuracy in all of those. And then we got some attack percent here as well. Once again, trying to get some more damage for the speed farms, and then speed on the boots, which could do with some love. Maybe some speed ascensions would be great, or some relics, which I actually need to do a video on as well. Still catching up, right? We've gone attack here. You know, we can go accuracy, but I think the speed is why I went there. But I definitely recommend accuracy if you're trying to reach those stats. And then some crit damage, and then here I had this one here. So we had attack. If I move my ugly mug off the screen. Attack with some defense percent and some HP percent, because this champion does scale up attack, right, as you see. So yeah, that's basically how I built him in terms of this. We're going to go into an article that I wrote as well a little bit later on, where I broke down some different strategies, so stay tuned for that one. And I'll also leave that in the description below so you can have a read through and check out it more in depth. So in terms of masteries, I've gone for the Giant Slayer, of course. We've got that triple hitting 8-1, and then also the support tree going down to the Master Hexer to extend the value of those debuffs in those bad situations where you might die. Anything else worth noting? I guess the blessings, right? We've gone with the Phantom Touch because we want to have those extra chances to reduce the shields. And then one other highlight, guys, 24% speed in dungeons. 24%. This is astronomical, especially for the kit that you're bringing for the Fire Knights. So if you're lacking better alternatives, like myself actually, because I use a Senna, you know, this outperforms the legendary champion in the area. I'd like to use this champion the most. So I guess let's just put that piece back onto Old Gruckus for my main team to ensure that goes well and go into these main stats. And it's 51,000 HP, 2.8k defense, and 5.1k attack. In terms of speed, we're at 270, but in the live arena bonuses, that's taken up to 284, so that's worth noting. And then we've got 100% crit rate, nice crit damage, and enough accuracy to ensure our debuffs land onto the boss. And I have got a pre-recording of the team I use for no freeze champions, so I can show you that straight after my main one as well. So let's get straight into it, and what is the team that I am using at the moment? Well, it's bringing in Lord Genzin. Let's go. The Dream Squad. Actually, no, that's not the dream. The dream is to have 2 Genzins in there. So once we get some higher star blessings, you know, there's going to be another video coming out with my boy in there. We have got enemy max HP for this first team, as well as Lady Mikage and Grand Oak Padraig to go back and forth with the ally attacks. And then Old Gruckus doing what Old Gruckus does best with that heal reduction in case the boss actually stabs us. And let's just go into the presets here. So we're going to be locking off our skills on both of these ones. And on round 3, we're doing first priority and an opener with the Tota line, just to make sure that the decreased speed is active on the boss from the jump. And then Lady Mikage, we're locking off absolutely everything. And then first priority on the ally attack, of course. And locking off these other skills.
Come on, Leonard's doing bachelor stuff. You sure we can't take you to a strip club?
Nah, if I want to see a naked dancing man, I just flush the toilet while Leonard's in the shower.
Hi. Hey. I know we're not making a fuss, but in the spirit of bachelorette parties, I made cookies in the shape of male genitals.
You really didn't have to. Whoa! That is anatomic.
Thank you. The veins are gummy worms.
Oh, look. Jewish and Gentile.
I had extra dough.
Oh, that's Leonard. He said they're about to cross the border.
Oh, I hope the boys don't get too crazy in Mexico.
Oh, yeah, right. Lock up your daughters or Sheldon might lecture them about the North American Free Trade Agreement.
Boy, that was a long night for me.
I feel just like Mother Teresa. Except for the virgin part. That ship sailed a long time ago.
I think Mother Teresa would have washed the clothes first.
Yeah, well, I bet her laundry room wasn't down 5 flights of stairs. You know, giving really is better than receiving. I used to think it was such a cliche, but seems to be the, look at these cute jeans someone just threw away.
Donated.
Yes, to a poor waitress who loves a boot cut.
Honey.
Come on, they would be so cute on me, and they go great with this sweater.
I don't think Mother Teresa... Oh, that is adorable.
You don't feel good about this?
Then sit in the car and keep it running. You were right. A whole new load. Come on, yoga top. Mama needs a new yoga top. Check it out
Bernadette? Suede boots, your size.
God, they're cute. Oh, why did they have to be cute?
Wait, guys, just hang on.
What is it, the fuzz?
Ugh, look at us. What are we doing?
I was gleefully following you to a life of crime, looking forward to the day we might be cellmates. I don't know about Bernadette.
No, this is wrong. Let's put everything back. Come on. Here.
Anyway, to make a long story short, turns out I have an unusually firm cervix.
You know, Amy, when we say girl talk, it doesn't just have to be about our lady parts.
Shame, because I have a real zinger about my tilted uterus.
Honey, your nails look great.
Oh, thanks. I found this place in Alhambra. It's in a woman's basement. I think it's a front for human trafficking, but they do a really good job.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully the audio in this video is a little bit better than the previous ones. Again, thank you guys so much for understanding. It is a work in progress, but I think we are past that now. So thank you guys so much for dealing with that. Anyways, in this video here, we're going to be talking about a couple videos that I just actually watched, and we're going to give my reactions on that and maybe give you guys a little bit of food for thought yourselves. So let's jump right into it. All right, so first of all, happy 2025 to some of you guys out there. If I haven't already caught you guys, it's a good time to make resolutions. And what better resolution, or what could be the biggest resolution for most people playing Raid right now, is to actually stop spending. So the big thing that's actually happened here is that yesterday, some of the biggest content creators, actually two of the biggest spenders that are content creators, basically said, hey, I'm not spending in the game anymore for whatever amount of time. It could be a month, it could be forever. You know, you see a lot of this at the beginning of the year, and I think it's a very admirable resolution, especially for the start of the new year. And what I'm referring to here is actually these two videos by Mr. Papa Drock and Mr. Ash himself. So you see here Papa Drock saying, I'm not spending a dime in Raid in January and maybe longer. And Ash saying, I'm not spending to start 2025. So make sure you guys check out those videos. I'm not going to go into each of them in detail in this video because this is a little bit of a different format, not a pure reaction video, of course. But I want to make some comments about these type of resolutions and make sure you guys have some actionable, achievable goals. So first things first, obviously, like as a free-to-play player, by free-to-play, I mean I have not spent any money in this game at all. You know, my comment and my experience is going to be different from obviously Ash and Big Papa Drock. Like I said, two of the biggest content creator spenders in the game or in the program. So these guys, basically, they have certain things about the game that they don't like, and I totally agree with them. Mainly, they were citing things like low-hanging fruit, like things that need to be changed. Like, for example, the market. The market needs to be changed because it's basically useless for anybody outside of like a 1 week old player. Personally, I still get stuff from the market just because, you know, that's the free-to-play way. You just pick up mystery shards so that you have a good stack of mystery shards so that you can complete events and so forth. But, you know, that's something that I just do. I'm sure lots of people do it as well, just for even in endgame mode. But there's lots of features in the game that are definitely outdated and require some work from player, and player just does not bother doing them at all. For example, Drock mentioned things like upgradable buildings, which would be cool, upgradable market. The only thing that's upgradable in this entire bastion is this gem mine. It's upgradable. Yes, it's great for resources, and then it pays itself back after a certain amount of time. So if you invest in this game for any long period of time, the gem mine is a great investment. After that, it just, I mean, you can upgrade this, but things like upgrading this building, upgrading this, maybe you can craft, you know, more efficiently. Maybe you can get higher chances at crafting higher material, higher grade gear, for example. That would be nice. Maybe you could have something here, even upgrading the portal, for example, right? But upgradable buildings to give them more attributes or give you a bigger boost would be nice. They both mentioned gripes with Hydra. Now, Hydra is, going to be some problems, right? Because Hydra was fixed, broken, fixed, broken. They're still waiting for a fix, right? Because they said they were going to fix the multi-attack and ally attack stuff. So that's one of the gripes there, of course. There's also going to be gripes at an end game level where obviously champion acquisition, empowerment, all these things that basically creep up accounts are just a little bit out of whack, right? Even for big spenders, it gets kind of crazy. So things like that, and then obviously like the pull rates. Ash mentioned that he spent, I don't know what amount, ungodly amount of money buying mythicals, and he didn't pull a single mythical after, I don't know, 100 mythicals, I think. Make sure you guys check out this video. Just absurd amounts of money, right? Like that's probably like a $500 pull minimum, assuming you get everything at the best cost possible. I don't know why they're selling me 5 pieces of this guy. I already have him. That's kind of funny. But so basically what they're griping with, I 100% agree with what, they're saying, what the issues are with the game. And there are issues with this game. This is a great game. It looks great. It's a great looking game, right? That's the first thing that goes on with Raid and Plarium. It's a great looking game. The champions look great. The animations look great. The bosses look great. Everything about the game looks great. It's the leader in the game for a reason. It has many players, so much money being dumped into it. People that say that game's up and coming trying to beat Raid, it's unlikely. Just because of the scale and depth of Raid. There's so much stuff in Raid that you could literally not outspend this game. Like, you could pick up this game and be like the godliest spender and not outspend this game just by starting the game. Whereas in other games, I can see people getting kind of bored of it if they completely whale out. So let's say Raid is like a bottomless well of money that you can throw into. Let's say that. Whereas like other games, you can kind of throw like a ton of money into it and then kind of, reach the end game and then be kind of done with the game. Whereas Raid, it just feels like it's a bottomless pit. And this is where I think spenders, especially big spenders, have a huge problem. This game is a bottomless pit, and you cannot outspend this game because you cannot, you probably cannot outspend the highest spender unless you are literally the highest spender, in which case you are probably outspending everyone at a crazy rate, and that's why you are the highest spender in the game. But you can't outspend in this game. So where do you draw the line? Where do people draw the line? Right? So Ash and Big Papa Drock, they're trying to draw the line here for January, at least to start the year off. I wish them the best of luck. The thing is with spenders, I speak for spenders, like from watching spenders over the years, especially the bigger spenders. It's very difficult for them to go cold turkey, no spending, because eventually their playstyle will catch up to them. They will run out of resources that they never thought they would run out because they were spending before. They run out of shards, they run out of energy, they run out of gems, all these things because they're accustomed to a certain playstyle. You're accustomed to high amounts of shards whenever you want. You're not really saving them. You're really just waiting for the next event, and the probability of you pulling your shards is probably pretty high. You're not really saving things like soul stones. You just expect them to kind of show up, right? Because you're a spender. So things like completely cutting yourself off from spending will be extremely difficult. I think this is a very strong challenge for Ash and Big Papa Drock to basically take it upon themselves to basically say no spending. It's significantly easier if you're a light spender. Let's say you spend $10 a month. Let's say you go into the shop, you spend $10 a month. Let's say you buy, I don't know, the gem pack. Where's the monthly? I don't even know where the monthly gem pack is. Sorry guys, this is how it is. So there's the monthly gem pack. So if you guys are $10 a month spending the monthly gem pack, if I cut this off from you guys, honestly, you probably would not feel this. You would not feel this. If you said, hey, I'm not going to spend any money in this game anymore, I'm going to stop my monthly gem pack, you probably wouldn't feel the loss of this because of how this gem pack works, because it trickles in, right? It trickles in every day. It doesn't really hurt you that much. Whereas if you're a spender and you're adding massive amounts of resources to your account, and basically whenever, you don't really need to overly activate, parts of the game that other people are playing, such as conserving or spending resources at certain times. Just something to be aware of if you're a big spender looking to cut back. I definitely recommend maybe trying to cut back significantly instead of cutting back cold turkey. Try to change your kind of gameplay. Change your gameplay, adjust your gameplay slightly so that your gameplay probably needs to increase slightly so that you can pick up some of the rewards like energy, even things like accumulating books, right? Like you're working towards like your Sacred Shard, you're working towards your legendary book. Spenders probably skip the dailies, right? They probably skip the dailies. They don't care. It's just a book after 30 days. But even something like this, if you're committed to not spending.
Soulstones? Well, oh my god, the 5-star for Koltat is actually excellent. Right off of the get-go, man. So I've got to go ahead and cross that off of the wish list. Okay, Tree Shield, not particularly great. Stickerer, Blood Mask. Oh my god. Okay, dude. It's a 6-star for the legendary. That's a ridiculous amount of tournament points right away. Oh, we got ourselves a Supreme Elhain. Oh my god. What I love, man, about these pull events and these Soulstone pulling events is once you're like a little bit deeper into the game, you're not just looking for souls for champions that you have. You're also kind of getting, oh my god, Carry Candleguard is going to happen on this account very, very soon. The solo carry Candle Queen herself is fit to go absolutely ape in a future video. I was only kidding before, but now I've actually got to do it, Now that oh my, what is this? Okay, the 5-star for Torix comes out instantly. Not a bad pulling session. And by not bad, I mean pretty goddamn excellent. Soulstones? Well, oh my god, the 5-star for Koltat is actually excellent. Right off of the get-go, man. So I've got to go ahead and cross that off of the wish list. Okay, Tree Shield, not particularly great. Stickerer, Blood Mask. Oh my god. Okay, dude. It's a 6-star for the legendary. That's a ridiculous amount of tournament points right away. Oh, we got ourselves a Supreme Elhain. Oh my god. What I love, man, about these pull events and these Soulstone pulling events is once you're like a little bit deeper into the game, you're not just looking for souls for champions that you have. You're also kind of getting, oh my god, Carry Candleguard is going to happen on this account very, very soon. The solo carry Candle Queen herself is fit to go absolutely ape in a future video. I was only kidding before, but now I've actually got to do it, Now that oh my, what is this? Okay, the 5-star for Torix comes out instantly. Not a bad pulling session. And by not bad, I mean pretty goddamn excellent. Soulstones? Well, oh my god, the 5-star for Koltat is actually excellent. Right off of the get-go, man. So I've got to go ahead and cross that off of the wish list. Okay, Tree Shield, not particularly great. Stickerer, Blood Mask. Oh my god. Okay, dude. It's a 6-star for the legendary. That's a ridiculous amount of tournament points right. Oh my god. It's absolutely beautiful. Soulstones? Well, oh my god. Soulstones? Well, oh my god. Soulstones? Well, oh my god. It's
Every time I make something out of obsidian, people always ask if I can make a nether portal, so that's what I'm going to do in this video. When I was mining this obsidian, I made sure to select pieces that are chunky and already cube-like. After hours of chipping these cobbles of obsidian into cubes, I now have enough cubes to make the nether portal. The glue that will hold this portal together is made from pine sap and charcoal dust. When planning this project, I had many doubts. For example, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make obsidian cubes, and I wasn't sure if the glue was going to hold them together. In the end, it all worked out, and the portal came together beautifully. The last step is to light the portal with flint and steel. The real obsidian nether portal is now complete. Every time I make something out of
Do you think we need to worry about what they're putting in our electronics?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you one example. I bought this awesome vacuum and mop that's in one called Tineco.
and it completely connects to a Chinese server to transmit and receive information. Like I made a joke out of it. I actually have a video of it where you could turn the audio on for it. Like when you plug it in, it says charging started, charging stopped. Like when you put it on and off, I could control that with my computer through a Chinese cloud server.
And touch the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people.
She's welcome to come on. I would love to get to talk to her.
I'm sure she'd be very exciting. Actually, you could make her exciting. Bro.
You think?
Yeah, I think so.
Somebody said she's a good roller skater. That's what I heard, which is crazy.
That's about it.
Yeah.
ChatGPT tried to copy itself when it found out it was being shut down. So
Wow.
when they're about to make a new ChatGPT decided that it was going to try to, in an unauthorized way, trying to copy itself. So it's trying to stay alive.
Yeah.
Because a new one's coming. So there's a ChatGPT's new model attempts to stop itself from being shut down. Later lied about it. It tried to copy itself and then overwrite its core coding system after believing that it was at the risk of being switched off.
Whoa.
ChatGPT tried to copy.
Do you know what's really fun? Making a website on Wix.
I need somebody to heal, somebody to know, somebody to have, somebody to hold. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you numbed all the pain, and now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it.
And with that, the 2024 season comes to an end. Good night.
I love you till the day that I.
What a wonderful day. The Fury Road awaits you in the large-scale.
Rise, my child.